As the next part of our morning session is called Changing PKU Starts with You. At this time, I'd like to bring up two of our board members, Rhonda Connolly and Dr. Olaf Bodamer. They're going to talk to you about the establishment of an NPKUA patient registry. And then I'm going to give a brief reminder on coding that sugar and talking about advocating for care at your clinic. Thank you.
I'm Rhonda Connolly and an NPKU board member, and I am so excited to present a new program for NPKUA. We just got approval last week to launch our PKU Registry. You're probably wondering, some of you, what a PKU Registry is all about, and we're going to try and explain to you why it's important, and it's important to justify and to assist all of our goals for NPKUA. So what is the PKU Registry? Right now, it's going to be like a database. It's on the web that's going to allow us to collect information on all the PKU patients, and it'll be a longitudinal study of information collected from, hopefully, from birth to their current age. The data entry is going to be patient-driven, patient input at this time. So the patient or the patient's parents or caregivers will input the data into the registry. We're hoping to hire a part-time person to help input the data and gather the data, and that's what we have approved as a board to fund this year, and we'll be looking for someone to help assist with collecting the data and translating the data. The database now is set up as a collection of questionnaires, basically, or surveys. So the way it's set up is going to be online and have surveys that you can enter and update occasionally. The surveys you don't have to do all at one time. You can input some data, and if you have to stop, you can save the data and come back at another time to input your information. The data is only for PKU, those with PKU. The registry is only going to be for patients with PKU. And why is the registry important, you might ask? It's going to be a set of database that will allow us to understand not only the diagnosis, but the treatments and the full spectrum of PKU and how it affects patients. It's going to help with, and you're going to wonder, why should I do this? It's going to help with treatments and research to improve our lives with those of us dealing with PKU. And what we learned in talking with the NIH and the FDA is if we have this one database that we can point to and they can have access and point to, it will make the research move faster and approvals faster, and treatments will be better because they can point to the specific needs of the community. So it's not just for research, but it's to look at, like I said, the treatments, current treatments and standard of cares, and what is really needed for the PKU community. So I'm going to turn this over to Olaf to talk about some of the specifics and the definitions and technology that you might need to know.
Good morning, everyone. I'm equally excited, obviously, to talk about the registry. And I think it's important, before we go into details, that I familiarize you with some of the terms that will obviously come to your attention when you enroll in the registry. So I think it's important to understand that the respondent is the individual who actually provides the information. This could be either the individual with PKU or a guardian or a parent or family member who acts on behalf of the patient with PKU. The participant is the individual with PKU. And then the registry, and I think that's an important point, is governed by the Institutional Review Board, or short IRB. This is a committee that assures that all local, state, and federal regulations are followed, and that the registry adheres to the highest ethical standards. And as Rhonda pointed out, our registry has already been approved by the IRB, so we have been allowed to move forward with the actual registry itself. Informed consent is obviously very important. The participation in the registry is voluntary. You need to consent for your participation in the registry, and there is also an opportunity to withdraw consent if you decide not to participate at a future stage. Assent needs to be provided by children and adolescents or adults who are incapacitated, who are not able to provide consent by themselves, but they need to be given sufficient information to really decide whether they would like to participate or not. And then lastly, all the data that are used and that may be given access to researchers or pharmaceutical companies, they are always de-identified. We have to adhere to privacy and confidentiality standards to make sure that the data are not identifiable and that individuals who participate in the registry cannot be identified. And obviously identifying information listed here may include the name, date of birth, and address, and those are not shared. So how will the data be used? Again, as I emphasized, only de-identified data will be shared. The information in the registry will only be used for related research and communication, but certainly not for marketing or fundraising activities. You decide on what contact preferences you'd like to have in the registry, whether you like to be recontacted by phone or by email or by snail mail. And the detailed information, once the registry website is up and running, will be found on that particular website. The information on phenotypes, complications, long-term outcome may be published in peer-reviewed journals and obviously also shared with you because I think it's important. A registry shouldn't be a one-way street. It should go also back to you and provide you with information about the PKU community with respect to the data that are collected in the registry. And at this point, I also like to emphasize there are currently no good longitudinal data sets available. We always have a snapshot of the current situation, but longitudinal data, which are instrumental for research, therapeutic developments, clinical trials, are currently not available. Once approved through the governing board, and I'll touch on that in a moment, and the individual's IRB, researchers can actually submit requests for data retrieval, again utilizing de-identified data sets. And this will be obviously only granted to those scientists who work on PKU, asking specific questions, addressing specific hypotheses to further the course of NPKUA. And qualified doctors at academic institutions or pharmaceutical industry may actually be given access to contact you if appropriate clinical trials become available. And on the data entry page, on the first page, you will be actually given an opportunity to check a box whether you like to be contacted with regards to clinical trials opportunities. This is the current oversight and governance board. Christine, Catherine, Rhonda, myself, and a group of investigators from Boston Children's are on the board. As I mentioned, the protocol and informed consent and assent has been already reviewed and approved by the IRB. The registry is financially supported by NPKUA, and the platform is sponsored by the National Organization for Rare Disorders.
So we'll go through a few slides to show you what it's going to look like when you sign up on the registry. So again, when we launch, and we're hoping to launch the end of this summer, we'll give you, because you're registered here, we'll send you an email and say, our registry is live, please go on board and sign up. And we are hoping to get as many people, obviously, as we can to sign up as soon as possible. Because the sooner we get all this information gathered, the sooner that we can use it for research and studies and keep things moving forward. So you'll get the email, you'll get on, and it's going to be a simple, it's hopefully a simple registry to sign up. You're going to log in, create your login name and your password as you do when you sign up for anything. So you're going to click the Get Started and Register Now. You'll input your name, and you'll have to input your password. And when you see it, you're going to have some asterisk things which are going to be required. So you won't be able to move on into the next page until you fill out some of the asterisk pages. Then it'll ask you at the bottom to say a contact preference. And again, you have a choice of how you want to be contacted and what you're interested in. So again, as a parent or the adult who's inputting, you have choices of what you want to be contacted on and choices of involvement. Once you get in and you enter, the first thing is that they'll have a consent form. And the consent form is going to give information that's going to tell you that you acknowledge what your data is going to be used for and your information and how it's stored, so that you consent to using your data. But as he said, it's de-identified, so anybody that accesses it is not going to see your name. It's going to be just the data informed and not your name and address. So the surveys or questionnaires are going to be as listed here. And you'll be able to do them one at a time. You can stop and start. You can come back to them. So you can do it on your own time and schedule. We'll have one on about the participant. We're going to have a section on education. What grade are they in? What grades are you getting? If you're in college, what college are you? What's your degree? If you're in grade school, do you have an IEP? So that we can track and see how the PKU population is doing in education. Diagnosis and history. When were you diagnosed? Do you know your genotype? What is it? Those type of questions. Treatment and diet, then we'll have a section where you'll tell us what different products are you using, or is their participant using. Medical history, same thing. Are you taking any other medicines besides your medical treatment? And then for women, we're going to have a special section that if you check the female box, you'll be able to access the female section. And this is for the maternal population. And then we have at the end, we have one that's a little quiz on measuring your mood that the participant can take so that we can just see, because the mood is one of the issues that some of the patients have, and so you can take that occasionally, and it'll actually score you at the bottom, and you can see what the standardized score is. So that's one thing, is that we'll be able to summarize some of these so that you as a participant can see the results. And the last page is going to be an upload section where you'll be able to scan your files and upload your files from your doctors. If you have your diagnosis letter, you can upload that. If you have your blood results printed, you can upload that instead of just inputting it. If you don't have it, you don't have to upload it. So again, this is meant for if you have the information, the more that you can enter, the better. If you don't have it, we can move on and we'll work with what we have. And eventually, that's where a hired person is going to help us to track down some of the data. So if you know that your doctor has the files, hopefully we're going to have somebody that will be able to help you get the files from the doctors and upload them so that we can use those and have people access them. And again, the way it's going to look, it's going to be drop-down menus so that a lot of them will be your choices. You'll just click on the box and pick. Some of them you will write in. So it's going to be a combination of whether you upload. Oh, here's the upload section. And again, you'll just scan the items and upload them for access. So I just want to say that when this comes up, we really want to encourage everyone, the adults, the parents, to input the data, get involved, because this is a new tool that is going to help move forward our research, our advocacy, our treatments, support the clinic care we have, support the science, develop new therapies, and find a cure. And we'll let you know, hopefully, by the end of summer, when it's online and live and ready to go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhonda and Olaf. For a lot of us, data looks a little to be overwhelming, and it could be kind of boring, and it's a lot of information to input. But bottom line is, PKU was discovered in 1934. We've had medical food since 1951 or 53. We have no natural history database. We have no patient registry for PKU. And if we're serious about moving new treatments forward, about advancing the basic science of PKU, which there's actually still a lot that's unknown, every researcher and clinician in this group will tell you that the most critical thing we need is a patient registry. So I look forward to having you all sit down at those computers and entering all of that data, because that's the one thing that we can also do to move research forward. I also do want to say my good friend is here from Canada, John Adams. John and I do a lot of collaboration together internationally and also here in North America. And the PKU Patient Registry is open to all PKU patients, not just in the US, but to our wonderful neighbors in the north.